I pay $60,000 a year for childcare.
We paid $29,662 in daycare.
I just got quoted $500 for 1 day of daycare. 1 day of daycare.
I just got my tax receipts from daycare and the totals are in. We spent just short of $13,000 last year on daycare fees. This is actually good though, because prior to the federal childcare subsidy, we were paying over $30,000 a year on daycare. What do you pay for daycare? Just curious.
So lately, I've been trying to do the math about me going back to work. And if you don't know me, I have a soon-to-be 3-year-old and twin 1-year-olds. So daycare for those 3 littles is $56,000 a year. And that's after-tax dollars, meaning that I have to make over $80,000 just to break even. And that doesn't include things like lunches, work clothes, gas to get to work. Don't get me wrong, I want to go back to work. I want to earn an income. I want to be a contributing member of society. But with the math, it doesn't make sense. And even with the government's incentive of 52% off daycare, it's still $26,000 per year. Again, that's after-tax dollars, meaning I need to make over $42,000 just to break even. And if somehow I can get over that hurdle, I now have to find a daycare that has 3 available spots for my kids. And if anyone knows around here, the wait lists are like 18 months long. So it seems like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Do y'all want to know what is freaking depressing? We got paid, and then I have to go spend $630 for 2 weeks on daycare. I can't wait till my kids become school aged and we don't have to spend that money.
Have you seen the daycare cost these days? $2,200 a month for one child.
So I'm doing my taxes, and I thought I would share how much daycare costs for 2 kids in San Diego. I have a 3-year-old son who's been in daycare for 12 months out of the year, and a 8-month-old daughter who is in daycare for 3 months out of the year. And for fiscal year 2024, we paid $29,662 in daycare. Yes, $29,000 for daycare for 2 kids. And that wasn't even 2 kids for an entire year. That is insane. I know a lot of people ask me questions all the time about how much daycare costs, so I thought I would share. Let me know how much daycare costs other places that are not San Diego, because we are looking to PCS somewhere a lot cheaper, hopefully soon.
These daycares got to be out of their ever-loving minds. I almost spazzed out on this lady when I called to try to see how much it would be to put my kids, 2 kids, okay, one's 5, one's 7, into a summer program. Just for daycare, just to go and have fun with other kids so they won't be home all summer. We're going to do things, all the things. That lady said $1,800. $1,800 for 2 kids? What on God's green earth will you be doing with my kid that's going to cost $1,800? Are y'all paying that? Listen, I have been fortunate to not have to put my kids in daycare, but that also means that because me and my husband's schedules was flip-flop. It didn't mean I didn't have a job. He worked days and I worked nights. So that was what we had. But $1,800? Oh no.
The cost of childcare is crazy and unsustainable. I understand why nannies are paid what they are, and while I understand daycare, I want my kids to be in the safest environment possible. I'm just saying, honestly, it's crazy. And I mean that from a ratio of income to childcare. I just got an email that my 4-year-old was accepted to a daycare that we applied in 2024. I don't mean 2024. We applied in 2020 for the daycare. So 4 years later, they finally have a spot because Charlotte, North Carolina is insane for daycares right now. They said, no problem. We just need a down payment and we need a month of the daycare, $2,400. I have 3 kids under 4. $2,400, and then they'd give a discount to my second for $2,200. If you add in my third, it's going to come to about $6,800 a month for daycare that's only from 9 to 2 a day. I'd have to be providing my own snacks and everything for the babies. $81,600. At that point, it's better for me not to work. What? I feel so defeated in this economy. $82,000. If I were to make a salary and then get the taxes, insurance, and everything off of it, it would be equivalent to about a $130,000 job. What are people doing? How are they surviving? I'm about ready to sell my feet pictures. Let me know.
There are 0 points in even working if you have to do daycare for your kids. I personally fucking think that, because my boss, used to be boss at my waitress place, He literally told me it's like $1,500 per month per kid for daycare. I just watched a girl's TikTok basically explaining, I think 2 of her kids is around like whatever, let's say $700-800 a week. Why even work at that point? You're literally paying like $3,000 to $4,000 a month for daycare. Guys, I make more. Sorry, my cat's fighting. I make more than most people that I know monthly, and even I might as well not work at that point.
So we just picked up our tax information from what we paid the daycare today. I know what we pay them every week, but let me tell you, when you see that big number, it is absolutely absurd what you have to pay to have somebody watch your kid every single day. I don't understand it. It is absolutely absurd, and they wonder why most families can't afford to go do fun things or to pay for extras. When you are paying tens of thousands of dollars for somebody to watch your kid every single day so you can go to work, which you have to do to have a living, how do you expect people to get ahead? I mean, I don't understand it.
Childcare costs are outrageous. They're out of this world. It costs anywhere between $60 to $100 per day to put your child in a daycare. That's crazy. A lot of people are paying more for childcare than their mortgage per month. That's nuts. I have talked to so many moms, stay-at-home moms, that say they might enjoy going back to work even part-time, but they literally cannot. They cannot afford childcare. Before I was a stay-at-home mom, I was a nurse, and I may have liked to go back to work part-time just to get out of the house a little bit, but I cannot afford to put my kids in childcare. If people are paying about $1,200 a month for one child, I mean, that's $2,400 a month for 2. Talk about 3, forget.
So our nursery has put its prices up to £92 a day. I got an email last night and I woke up this morning to it, and honestly I don't know whether to scream or cry. The frustrating thing is the cost of the childcare in the UK is out of control, and I appreciate that they have to stay in line with inflation, and that's what they say, and that some nurseries are actually struggling because of the cost of living. But the problem is if you have both parents working and both parents earning what is an average to decent salary, you actually can't afford childcare, and so you're put in a situation where what do you do? So we have a 2-year-old who's been in nursery since he was very little, and we're also pregnant with our second, who would look to go to nursery from January, and I don't know how we're going to pay for it. I think what's so difficult is that you don't want to compromise. You don't want to compromise your child's care or the good experience that you've had before because you're being priced out, or the fact that somebody might have to give up work or give up job and their career and their development to just be able to afford it. I wrote a whole load of stats down on the train about women being pushed out of the workforce because of the cost of childcare, and I feel like I don't even need to go through it. Already, the government, the investment is just not a priority, and it's unbelievable. The mad thing is £92 a day is actually not the most expensive nursery in our area. We chose one because it was very good, but also because it was not the most expensive. Some of them are over £100. And with 2 children, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to work it out. Anyway, have a great day.
I am so fucking fed up with this country, honestly. Right now, I want to rant about daycare. My kids are at the same facility. It goes from 3 months to VPK. So my son is in preschool and my daughter is 8 months. Now my son just graduated preschool, but they have a summer camp. Now the summer camp applies for all ages. And this place is ridiculous because they close for random days, teacher planning days for an infant. I mean, you're not teaching them. They are whatever. That's a story for another day. So they are closed for an entire week. Now, there's set rates. Pay continues. We are paying continuously. However, now I have to pay a person to come to my house and watch my 2 kids. And the cheapest that I have been able to find is $30 an hour. And for a week, I mean, holy shit. I can't afford to live. I might as well stop fucking working. I work as a nurse practitioner and I can't afford this childcare. Please make it make sense. I can't survive here anymore.
Let's talk daycare prices. Personally, I quit my job because it was cheaper to stay home than to pay for daycare. Daycare by me, New York City, Upper East Side, $2,500 a month. How much is daycare in your neighborhood? And did you quit your job? Did you get a part-time job? What did you do? What were the options?
So everybody says they're not having kids, and every country is claiming that birth rate is declining. But why on earth the daycare costs never drop? So we plan to send our daughter to daycare when she turns 18 months, which is June 2026. So we've been touring a couple of family care and chain daycare, and the price is just so outrageous. So family care are usually on the cheap side. The cheapest option I can find in family care is around $22,000 per month, and then provides 2 meals and 2 snacks. It actually sounds really reasonable. But for chain daycare, the price range is just whoosh. The cheapest I can find from chain daycare is $3,300. And that's not even including the meal. If you want the meal, that's another $400 to $500 per month. And almost all daycares already have a really long wait list. So if you want to be added on wait list, you need to pay $100 registration fee, which is not refundable. So far, I already paid $500 just to put my daughters on several daycares wait list. And it's not guaranteed she will have a spot. And even though if she cannot have a spot, then will not refund my registration fee. Me and my husband did financially plan for the baby. We saved quite a bit of money and plan to use it only on baby herself. But it still shocked me how expensive to raise a kid, especially by the daycare costs.
So I just got the email from our aftercare provider for my son's school about summer camps. Not realizing that summer camp per week costs the same amount as me sending him to daycare as a 3-year-old per week. So basically this summer I'm jumping from $300 a month in aftercare payments, which he's in aftercare for almost 4 hours a night, to $265 a week. So basically I will be paying 3 full-time daycare bills for the 10 weeks of summer or 8 weeks of summer. I'm sorry. There has to be a better way. Like, I already was having a heart attack of paying a second full-time daycare bill. In total, $600 a week for 2 daycares, plus the $300 a month for aftercare. You're telling me I'm going to be paying $900 a week now? In the summer? For daycare? Make it make sense, America. There's gotta be better ways. There has to be more help for parents and families. This is insane.
I pay $60,000 a year for childcare. And that might seem insane to many people. But here in the US, childcare is not only inaccessible, meaning very hard to come by, but also unaffordable for so many. I am obviously in a place of privilege where I can afford this, and I see an upside to having my children in childcare. But the reality for most Americans, and especially American women, because we are the ones who are looking for and financing most childcare efforts, is that it's just out of reach. And so for some context, because I think people are always shocked by the numbers, for one infant to go to daycare at my childcare center, which is a town-based recreation department childcare center, it is $23,000 a year. That's for one child. Go to daycare. That alone is staggering. That number is just so large, and so many people cannot afford that. And are there alternatives? Are there home daycares? Are there nannies? Are there nanny shares? Yes. But those are also pretty expensive and very, very hard to come by. My infant baby never even got to go to daycare. She is turning 1 this month, and they still do not have room for her. She will not be in childcare until she's almost 2 years old, because that is how long the wait lists are. The wait list can be 1-2 years, depending on where you live and the access that you have to childcare. Because since COVID, so many daycare centers and nannies have left the industry. Our childcare center is struggling to find and keep teachers because they are not paid enough, and there is no more government support to help them sustain in this economy. And I think so many people look to mothers often and say it's so selfish to continue your career and to put your kids into daycare. When in reality, our country, our economy needs childcare centers so that way we can function as a society, right? We need dual income homes, not just to be able to afford life, which is true, but also to keep our world going around. Our economy relies on all of these people working. And now people are leaving the workforce because they cannot find childcare. And this is hurting women. This is not hurting most men. This is hurting women more than anyone, and it's hurting our children. And often we also forget that women are the ones providing care in daycare centers and as nannies. In all of those scenarios, it's almost always women. And so this problem, and the reason probably that it's ignored so much, is because it only impacts women and children. And it's great.
Have you seen the daycare cost these days? $2,200 a month for one child. I was talking to this mom at a birthday party this weekend, and she was telling me that she went and got a job for $65,000. And I was like, oh, that's really awesome, because her husband makes great money, but they wanted extra money. She said the only downside is that I need to have a nanny come Monday through Friday, and it cost me $2,200 a month. And I don't have kids, so I never even thought of that before. And you know me with my numbers, started having a conversation with her. I said, well, what's your take-home pay, if you don't mind me asking? And she said about $4,000. She goes, so that's the tough part here, is that after the daycare costs, I'm only really pocketing $1,800 a month, and then it's $300 in gas because the commute's very far. So I'm really going to work for 40 hours a week and only pocketing $1,500. So I'm wondering if I even made a mistake here, and they're trying to figure this all out. And we look at people who have a job at $65,000 or $80,000, or a couple who's making $120,000, and you're like, how can you not afford this? Like, this doesn't make sense. But when you really break it down, her take home of that $65K is only $18,000 a year. So some people, that $1,500 a month is make or break. But I'm curious if she's going to end up moving forward with that job, because once they saw the numbers. But I was blown away because I've never looked into daycare costs before. Are you all finding that daycare per child is what, $1,000, $2,000 a month? What's your experience with that?
I'm sorry, but how can people afford daycare? Like, if you have two working parents, how is it possible to afford daycare full time? We are blessed to have 2 days that my mother-in-law watches the boys, which is wonderful. But we have friends that send their kids to daycare all week, and individually each kid is $70 a day. That means if you have two kids, it's $140. So overall, that equals out to at least $35,000 for the year. It literally leaves you with like nothing left. Sorry, but the US system is not made for two parents to be working. It literally is not. And some days I'm like, why do I even work? I don't know. And I feel like nowadays it is becoming more common and more accepting that mothers stay home. I'm not knocking on daycares either, because bless their hearts, I could never stay home with 5 kids that are not my own. But even them, like, they don't make that much money. People in daycare don't even make that much money. And you look at other countries, I don't know. We need to start paying people more. We just need to start paying people more. They can afford daycare. Or we just need to make it more accepted that mothers stay home, that they can be stay-at-home moms.
I just got quoted $500 for 1 day of daycare. 1 day of daycare, $500 for my 4 kids. That's more than $100 each. $125 for 1 day of daycare in this woman's home. It's like an in-home daycare. It's not even like an actual facility. No, like, she takes care of other people's kids in her home. She wants me to pay $500 a day. I need daycare for like 8 days out of the month. It's not even that much. But I mean, I've never paid that much for daycare ever. And I feel like that's a little insane. Am I crazy? Is like that the going rate all of a sudden? Because I feel like it's not. I feel like that's an absolutely insane amount of money. $4,000 for 8 days out of the month. That's 1 week and a day worth of childcare. And I get it. Like, it's 4 kids. It's a lot. Absolutely. But is that the going rate? Like, somebody tell me if that's the average rate for childcare right now.
Why is daycare so fucking expensive? Nah, like, on some real shit, like, this is a genuine question. Why the fuck is daycare so expensive? So you're telling me I have to pay $2,000 a month for a toddler, right? $2,500 a month for a baby? Yo, why is daycare so expensive? So you're telling me that if you take care of 25 kids, right, at like what, 2 bins a month, right, that's over $100K. I think I might say fucking open like a fucking daycare. You feel me? Because this is where the money at. Because yo, like, Make it make sense. And they paying their employees like $10 an hour, and most likely they don't even have papers. So the profit of that is ridiculous, because I'm not paying that much money for $2,500, $2,000, even $1,000 seems too much if you ask me. Like, but shit.
Do you know what the biggest scam in America is? And it's not rent prices, it's not grocery store inflation, it's not gas prices. It is child care. Nobody told me or prepared me for exactly how expensive child care would be. So you mean to tell me I need to pay $500 a week for daycare just for my child to get sick every week, just for me to have to take off work and stop what I'm doing to stay home and take care of my child, just to keep paying daycare? Baby, that's why my child lasted in daycare for all of 3 weeks, okay? I hated daycare. I was like, listen, if I have to not work and stay home with my child, that's what I'm gonna do, because that daycare stuff is not it. It is like paying rent twice. You still have to send them with their bottles made. You have to pay for holidays. Why am I paying for daycare and I had to be home with my child? Does that make any sense? Daycare is hands down the biggest scam ever. So if you're pregnant right now, or you have kids, or you're thinking about having kids, just know childcare costs are not for the weak, okay? And don't think that you're just gonna go get a nanny unless you got an extra $1,000 a week to spend. I'm trying to tell you, it is so real out here for parents. And this coffee, Starbucks has nothing on me.
Why is daycare and or preschool academy so expensive? I will not understand it. My coworker and I were discussing this. They were recommending a preschool academy. We look up the site. Tell me why the cost of tuition was $15.80, not $15.80, not 1,580 pesos, but 1,580 USD, United States dollars. What? Have you lost your mind? You think I'm gonna pay $1,500 a month, $1,600 a month? What are you teaching for tuition to be $1,600 a month? That's basically a rent payment. What?
Parents or people who have kids in daycare, can you tell me where you live and how much you pay a month, and if it's part-time or full-time? We were looking for daycare for Baker. Tell me why the cheapest I could find for part-time was 3 days a week, $1,500 a month. The cheapest I could find for full-time was $2,000 a month. And a lot of them don't even do part-time, and they were like, oh, you can pay for full-time and just drop them off whenever. And I was like, yeah, let me just light money on fire. But anyways, I'm just curious because I feel like that's really expensive. And how are people supposed to afford this? But let me know. So let me know where you live and how much you pay a month, and if it's full-time or part-time. Thank you. Bye.
All right, so this is one of the things that I'm pissed about today. Price of daycare. The last time I actually put my son in daycare, he was 3. He'll be 7 this year. And so I went today to check in for my daughter that will be 14 months this year. Next month, actually. That'll be 14 months. And for 2 days only. I only needed 2 days, not more. And it was $287 per week. And they're talking about they provide diapers and wipes. But $287 is insane. And then if you do 5 days full-time, $446. Do you know how much $446 it is per week? You're trying to tell me that, let's just say $450 per week, 4 weeks in a month, you're paying about, what's that, $1,800 for daycare? $1,800 for daycare is insane. This baby is about to be sitting under my desk, and we'll be working together until she goes to school. Because that's insane. For 2 days, it's $287. But if you're paying $450 for daycare, let me know if you're hiring, because I need that job so I can be able to provide. I can be able to afford daycare. And basically, yeah.